The recruitment officer's shuttle lifted off from Earth's surface, taking Zia with it. Elsa watched from the mountain ledge, her emerald scales catching the afternoon sun as she pressed her snout against the cold stone. The boy who had scratched behind her horns every morning was gone, swallowed by the stars and the galactic fleet's endless hunger for soldiers. She was only 3 cycles old, a hatchling by dragon standards, but she understood loss. Her keening cry echoed across the valley, a sound that made the trees shiver and birds fall silent. Her mother, Dravenix the Ancient, coiled her massive form around her daughter. He will return, little flame. Humans always return to those they love. But when? Elsa's voice cracked like splintering ice. The fleet takes them for years, decades. I'll be grown and he won't know me. Dravenix had no answer. She had lived 10,000 years and seen countless species rise and fall, but even she could not predict the whims of war. The Void Collective's invasion had forced every sentient species into an uneasy alliance, and humanity, despite being one of the youngest spacefaring civilizations, had proven remarkably effective at turning the tide. Too effective. Now they recruited children like Zia, barely 16, with tactical minds that could outthink AI systems. Days blurred into weeks. Elsa refused to eat. She lay at the mouth of their cave, watching the sky for ships that never came. Her scales dulled. Her fire dimmed to embers. Dravenix made a decision. She took flight one moonless night, her wings carving through clouds until she reached the wandering market, a dimensional crossroads where species from 1,000 worlds traded goods, services, and sometimes lives. The market existed in the spaces between spaces, accessible only to those who knew the old songs. "I seek a companion," Dravenix told the market keeper, a being of pure energy contained in a crystalline shell. "Something small, something that needs love as much as my daughter needs to give it." The keeper's light pulsed thoughtfully. "Compensation? 3 scales from my spine, 20 years of my flame, a steep price. Dragons hoarded their essence jealously. Done?" The keeper led her to a cage that shouldn't exist in 3-dimensional space. Inside, a creature no bigger than Dravenix's claw mewed pitifully. It had 6 legs, luminescent fur that shifted between purple and silver, and eyes like twin galaxies. "A Velshara kitten," the keeper explained. "Its colony ship crashed in the Andromeda sector. This one is the sole survivor. It will die without a pride." Dravenix extended one massive talon. The kitten sniffed it, then rubbed its face against the scale. "Perfect." Elsa lifted her head when her mother returned at dawn. "You've been gone 3 days. I've been searching." Dravenix lowered her claw and something small and glowing tumbled onto the stone. "For this." The kitten looked up at Elsa and chirped, a sound like wind chimes in a thunderstorm. Despite herself, Elsa felt something stir in her chest. The creature was ridiculous. Absurd. Its 6 legs tangled as it tried to walk, and it kept sneezing sparks. "It's broken," Elsa said, but her voice lacked conviction. "It's lonely," Dravenix corrected. "Like you." The kitten stumbled toward Elsa, undeterred by her size. When it reached her foreleg, it began to purr, a sound that resonated in frequencies that made Elsa's bones hum. Before she could stop herself, she lowered her head. The kitten climbed onto her snout and curled up between her horns, exactly where Zia used to rest his hand. Elsa's eyes burned, but not with fire. "What do I call it?" "That," Dravenix said gently, "is for you to decide." She named the kitten Stardust, because its fur reminded her of the Milky Way on clear nights when she and Zia would lie on the grass and count satellites. Stardust was chaos incarnate, chasing its own tails, pouncing on Elsa's tail spikes, and somehow managing to get stuck in impossibly small crevices. But it was also warm, and present, and desperately affectionate. Weeks became months. Elsa taught Stardust to hunt mountain goats. Stardust taught Elsa to play again. When Elsa practiced her flight, Stardust would cling to her back, yowling with what might have been terror or exhilaration. It was hard to tell. One evening, as the stars emerged, Stardust curled against Elsa's chest and purred its strange harmonic purr. Elsa realized she'd gone an entire day without watching the sky for Zia's return. The guilt hit her like a ballista bolt. "I'm forgetting him." Dravenix, who had been watching from the cave entrance, shook her massive head. "You're healing. There's a difference. Love doesn't diminish because you make room for more of it." What if he comes back and I've changed too much? What if he doesn't recognize me? Then you'll show him who you've become, her mother said simply. And if Zia is half the human you believe him to be, he'll love you even more for it. 2 years later, a battle-scarred fleet transport descended into their valley. The ramp lowered, and a young man emerged, taller, broader, with scars that spoke of campaigns fought in the dark between stars. But his eyes were the same warm brown Elsa remembered. Zia looked up at the dragon who now dwarfed him, who had grown into her wings and her fire. Elsa? She lowered her head and he touched her snout like he used to. Then Stardust, curious and fearless, bounded down from Elsa's back and began investigating this newcomer with aggressive sniffing. Zia laughed, a sound Elsa had feared she'd never hear again. You got a cat? She got me, Elsa corrected, and for the first time in years her fire burned gold and bright. Zia scratched behind her horns while Stardust climbed onto his shoulders, purring loud enough to shake pebbles loose. Tell me everything. And under the patient gaze of stars that had witnessed empires rise and fall, Elsa did. The war wasn't over. The fleet would call Zia again. But tonight, in this moment, they were complete. A dragon, a human, and a 6-legged alien kitten who had somehow become the bridge between loneliness and healing. Mother had been right, as mothers often are. Love didn't diminish. It multiplied. And in the cold mathematics of the universe, that was humanity's greatest weapon.